You've been tarnished.
I finished up my internship at Georgia State doing campus ministry, and from there, me and April got married and moved back to Valdosta. And I guess that's where the rubber hit the road as far as having to get a real job and going and making some real money to be able to provide for April to get through school. And that came in the form of Hibbett Sports, working as a retail manager. And I did that for about 3.5 years, just working my way up through the ranks of the company, and actually got up to district team leader. And that's where we really felt like we needed to rediscover that initial dream, because we were kind of losing it as far as getting back into the ministry and doing some stuff for God's kingdom on that. So.
I finally graduated after Chris put me through school for 3.5 years. And I had a hard time finding a job for a good, I'd say about 4 months. It was really rough out there, but it was getting kind of rough with just Chris's job, and I didn't really have anything but a little part-time job. And I was kind of giving up hope, but then all of a sudden this job came out of nowhere, and it was really like a God thing, because it took like 2 weeks to get in. Like, I interviewed, got the job, and I was in like 2 weeks later, and it was just definitely a God thing. And I could see how from that we have been able to financially be able to have Chris go back into the ministry. You know, he doesn't have to be the sole provider anymore, so
It's just such a God thing how we just surrounded the whole thing in prayer, and we had a lot of people praying for us. And April, finally lands this job. It's just, perfect for her. Fits everything she's at this season, and I actually had a lot of decisions I had to make, because I was actually interviewing for more positions with Hibbett Sports, and then also with some outside companies trying to possibly do something to try to stay in Valdosta. So we could continue staying together and everything here. And it was just such an awesome thing how God will lay back on your heart, or just previous dreams that you had, and how He enables that through what He does. And a lot of people ask, why not? Why are we not going and continue working for Hibbett Sports, or working, grabbing another job and making more money? We still have a lot of student loans to pay off, and we have a lot of goals and plans for our future. But we realize, the most important thing that we could possibly do, the most important thing, is to make those relationships that will last for the rest of our lives, and to see people make that relationship with God, and to see them come to know God in a way that has gotten us through every situation that we've ever gone through. And not that everything's always turned out happy and good, or even things like they are now, that He's given us the grace and the peace through every moment. It's just been fantastic, and to be so blessed to be able to come back into that original dream that I believe that He gave us when we first got married. It's really neat to see a lot of those prayers and dreams finally coming into fruition there. It's definitely worth it. One thing that we've really learned over the last 6 months is that you don't really sacrifice when you sacrifice. God will bless you in ways you wouldn't have never thought of, and it's not the way the world blesses, with a bunch of riches and a bunch of stuff, but He blesses you with those relationships. He blesses you with so much, and with House of Joy, and with trying to get into the new building. It's tough having to move stuff around from place to place. It's tough not having a kind of a base of operations to be able to reach the community with. And while I know that we don't want to not do anything in the community by any means, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about having a place where we can put our stuff in, have a place where we can meet without having to worry about anybody's schedule but our own. And just to think how many people we could reach just by having a building is just, it's going to be awesome. And no matter what, we realize that it's I mean, it's those relationships we're building and those people that we're reaching and that's what it's all about.
I don't see it as a sacrifice, because when I think about what God has done for me in my life and what He's done through other churches and people who have been in ministry and ministering personally to me, I think, why wouldn't I want to give back? You know, why wouldn't I want to do that for someone else? Because it's done so much for me, and I want to be there and able to do it for someone else. So it's not really a sacrifice when you think about what He's already done for me to begin with.